Assalamualaikum to one and all. In continuation with the historiography development in the West, now the last point I need to explain you, that is the notable scholars 1.4. Let us see the notable scholars of the European countries. Now in the Europe, as there was a lot of prosperity, people having a lot of research work, lot of things were going on and new changes in the societies were coming up, and some of the changes were having effect on the history as well. So let us see what these great scientists and notable scholars have done for efforts to take in for the history to develop. Okay. First of all, we will see about René Descartes. He was born in the year 1596 and died in 1650. He was a German scholar. Basically, you will see in Germany and France, lot of scholars and scientific way they discovered the things. Now this person, René Descartes, he told us about evidences, a strong evidences he believes that should be there. Never to accept anything till the last ground is unturned, or till the last stone is unturned, to accept the things. With total proofs and evidences, we should say any statement. Then only our history will be a perfect history. One cannot write history by himself by making the turns and twists in his own ways. But he will have to prove the evidences, what actual things were there and the proofs were there. Otherwise, you cannot write a history. Okay. So, never to accept anything till all the doubts were cleared. Okay. Now, Voltaire. He was born in the year 1694 and died in 1778. He was a French scholar. Now, you know, this person, he is called as the founder of historiography. Why he is called so? Because he said, history is not just the stories of the great leaders and the kings and the queens and the chronological sequence of their lives. But he said it is based on the agriculture which was there at that time, the economy, the traditions, the trades, the common people's life. All these should also be covered in the history. Then we see about George Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel. He was born in 1770 and died in 1831. Now this person, he was also a great scholar. He proved that many of the things without any scientific base, we should not accept them without any proof. Everything should have a proof and evidence, then only that can be said as a statement in the history's book. Okay. Then we will see about Leopold von Ranke. He was born in 1795 and died in 1886. He was very strict, very strict about the statements. Any evidence without any proof should not be brought. That was his statement. He said that anything, any statement or any documents which is brought, it should be authorized or authentic in a sense. What do you mean by authentic? It should be a genuine. Suppose anybody comes to you and he says that this is the letter of Shivaji, then how you need to prove it? How you need to have a scientific way to understand. So here the science comes inside. Now we need to have all the proofs. Why? The scientific proofs will only prove to us that this is a true history. That's what he said. Now this person, Karl Marx, he was born in 1818 and died in 1883. Now this person, he has taken a very important turn in the history or historiography. Now he says what is actually history. History is a person's struggle to fight for the classes. Suppose an example, if a small layman is there, he is working as a laborer. If you he always has a dream that he should go to the higher class. He should have a next rank. That is, if he is living in a hut, he will dream of living in a chawl-like system. Then if he is living in a chawl-like system, he will always dream to work hard and improve himself and live in a flat. Those living in the flats, they have always a dream that they should make a living in their bungalow. I mean to say a separate kind of a building. Now those living in the separate buildings, they want the gardens to be there around them and many other dreams and lots of dreams. Now every man is always thinking of going to the higher level. So what Karl Marx says? Karl Marx says that history is nothing but the struggle of the classes of the human being to get improved towards the higher class. Now during this struggle, the highest person, that means those people who are very rich and at the authority, like the examples of the kings and the lords in the olden times, these people, they always suppressed the lower classes. This is what Karl Marx said, that the wealth in the society should be distributed equally among the human beings so that they can always live in a happy manner. But is it possible? Because the rich people, they will never be satisfied to distribute or lay down their money to the other classes. He also wrote one book in this regard. Okay. Then we come to Michael Foucault. Michael Foucault, he was born in 1926 and died in 1984. Now this person, he said that history is not just about the chronological way, that there was a stone age, then the medieval age, then the modern age. But what he says, that when the traditions were broken and there was a change in the society, that is the transition period. The transition period or the change in the society, when it took place, from there onward we need to study why the change took place in the human life. Suppose examples we can say is those people, they were, first of all, they were living on the corners of the banks of the river, right? The first settlements, mostly the people were living on the banks of the river. We have the example of Ganga river, Yamuna river. People used to live on the banks of the river. Why? Because water is the most important thing for them, right? But when many of the storms started coming, or the overflow of the rivers was there, or many of the other problems were there, they removed their houses from that side and changed their way of living to a separate place. Like same way, lastly, at last time or in the olden periods, people used to have their own separate gods and they believed in the stone as a god. But there was a transition period. As we know, as the rise of Islam came, there was a change, a greater change with these people. I am giving you just the example to understand that the stones were not now as understood as a god, but they understood that God is very powerful, more stronger than the stones. Right? So the transition period is the most important period according to Michael Foucault. I will give you all the definitions or all the statements which these peoples have said. Now the two important topics remaining now are analyst school. What do you mean by analyst school? It is not any school. Now these started in France. Many of the intellectual people, many of the people who came to the understanding that truth should be the basis for to write the history. But the history should also be written in such a manner and leaving all those traditions. Last time what was happening? The history was written as per the kings, the queens, the stories of the landlords and big people, when they died, when they born. These all things were going on. But now history has started in such a way that we should understand what was the economy of the common people, what was the agriculture in that period, what was the climate of that period, what was the coins which were utilized in that period, how the transaction was going on. You must have remember in the olden age, we had studied in history also what is barter system. What was barter system? When the coins were not used, what was used? Suppose there was one farmer, the coins were not used at that time. The farmer used to give the rice to the potman or the person who makes the pot, and that earthen pots were sold by that earthen pot maker, and instead he took the rice. So such kind of exchange of the goods was taking place last time, and then they started using a uniform currency. So there is always a change. Now, Annales school of thought make us understand that it's not important to understand and study the chronological orders of the kings and the hereditary and the people's life, but to understand the importance of those people living at that time, their basic habits, their traditions, their costumes, their life, the weather, the climate, the agriculture at that time, the economy at that time. Okay, that is called as Annales school of thoughts. Now the last thing which we are going to see is feminist historiography. What is feminist historiography? Feminist historiography is the first word feminist, that means females. Now you must have seen in the olden tradition, the human beings, the women were suppressed, had a lot of struggle and trouble in the early times of the history. She or the woman was not given proper status. Okay, today we see many of the women in the offices, working as a pilots also, working on the higher ranks also. But in the old tradition, you must have seen that the women were not given the rights. Now, these persons, Simone de Beauvoir, she was a German person, and she started a research method on what the sufferings of the females from generation to generation has been there. Okay, so these all detail is there in the feminist historiography. Inshallah, we will see details next time. Thank you.